Hey, and welcome back to part 2 of learning the basics of AutoCAD. So in this video, we're just going to continue where we left off in part 1 by completing the rest of this Pac-Man drawing and going over some more of those common commands that you're going to be using on a regular basis. So if you already got Toolbox fired up, let's go ahead and open up that project, back into that room, and complete this drawing. Okay, so now it's time to draw some more rectangles. So the first rectangle, we're going to start it at the midpoint of this polyline. We'll left click to start the rectangle. Let's enter a value of 6, and then tab for the value in Y, make that one 20. So this rectangle is 6 inches by 20. Now the next step is to move it where we want it. Now we're going to start by entering the move command. Select the object. Now pick the base point, which is going to be the midpoint of this rectangle, and we're going to move it to the midpoint of that polyline. Okay, so we got that one rectangle. Now what we need to do is copy that rectangle and place it along some of these other polylines. To make this easy, we'll start drawing a polyline that we can use for reference. Now let's start the polyline at that endpoint. So the command for copy is CO. Type in CO at the command line, hit enter. Now select your object, and similar to move, you'll select your object and then pick your base point, and then the second point of displacement. It's going to be at the intersection of where we drew that polyline. So left click on that intersection snap point and hit enter. So now we have a new rectangle, but it's not the way that we want it. So we're going to have to rotate that. And the command for rotate is RO. And now ready to select the object. Now for a base point, select this base point here. And once you've selected the base point, just move your cursor up, and that'll rotate this rectangle 90 degrees. So once you like the rotation angle, left click again, and now we got our rectangle rotated. Okay, we can get rid of this polyline now, and select it, and get rid of that guy. See, with the rectangle, you have ways that you can stretch it and change the size of it after you have it drawn. By selecting that center grip point, you can stretch this rectangle if you need to. You turn off ortho, you can see what happens there. Let's make sure we have ortho turned on. And now we'll move our cursor over and give this a value of 10. Hit enter. So now we have that rectangle stretched 10 inches. That looks good. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that copy command and start moving these other rectangles into position. So the smaller rectangle will go down below, and then that one that we just stretched 10 inches, we're going to copy that one to be centered on the other polylines. So go ahead and get that done on your end while I complete this one here. So once you have all those other rectangles where you want them, let's go back through and trim up some of these lines and get this looking a little bit closer to our finished drawing. And because there's some overlapping lines there with those rectangles and polylines, remember to left click and hold down on your mouse and drag your cursor through those lines to trim them up. So let's bring in that image again and take a look to see how close we are, see what else we need to do to finish this up. Okay, so obviously other than Pac-Man and a ghost or two, we need to just add some radiuses to these corners. So that's an easy one too, and that's something also that you'll be doing quite often. So this one is called the Fillet command or Fillet command. Fillet? Is it fillet or fillet? I guess if it's fillet, it's more of like a fish. So we'll call it the Fillet command. How about that? Okay, so use the Fillet command. So type F for fillet, enter. So if you look at the command line now, at the bottom it says select the first object, or you can do one of these other options. Now we're going to type in R for radius. Okay, now it's saying specify the radius amount. The last radius that I did, you can see, was 0.125. So it remembers that, but I want to change that. So now you can type in 2. So we'll make this a 2-inch radius, and then hit enter. Now it takes you back to your drawing, and your pick box is ready to go, and you can start selecting some objects. So all you need to do is select the two adjacent lines that you want to add that radius to. Select the first line, and then the second. And then once you've selected that second line, it gives you the radius and it completes that command. Now we're just going to go through and start adding a whole bunch more radiuses to these corners. So spacebar to repeat the fillet command. Radius is still going to be 2. So you can go one by one and spacebar to repeat, spacebar to repeat. You can also see once we've done that and add the radius corners to those objects, this now has become one continuous polyline. So it's a way of joining all these different objects together. So rather than just a bunch of individual pieces, we now have one joined object. So just a little trick that I want to show you. You type in F for fillet again in the command line, hit enter, and those options appear. So before we select any object, we're going to type in M for multiple. Now we're back to the drawing with our pick box again. And because it remembers that same radius amount, we can now go through this drawing and select all the different corners that we want to add this radius to. So if you follow along, you can see I'm selecting the first object, and the second, and then now my pick box still remains active this entire time because we told AutoCAD that we're going to be doing multiple fillets. And now it's just going through and doing the same thing we did before, and less times you have to hit the space bar. So anything we can do to be more efficient, that's the idea. So spend a little time and get all these radiuses on your corners. Okay, well, we're moving right along with this drawing. Now the next command that I want to show you is the explode command. So after running the fillet command, and now we have all these joined objects and created a continuous polyline, which is good, that's what we want. But what if I want to go back and, I don't know, maybe delete one of these radius corners or something? Well, you can't the way that we currently have it. And that's where the explode command comes in. So you can take something that you have drawn in AutoCAD and explode it so everything that was joined together is now just a bunch of individual objects. But first, let's go ahead and make a copy of this because I don't want to screw up everything that we just did and have to go back and redo it. So we'll make the copy first, and then we can go and explode these objects. Copy this one over. And that looks like a good spot for it. Now we can explode this. So type in X, then enter. And did I forget to mention that the space bar is also the same as enter? Now all the objects are just individual lines and arcs. And that's the explode command. Okay, let's go ahead and delete this, and we'll get back to drawing one of the ghosts. So we're going to repeat some of the same commands that we did before. First with a rectangle, we'll type REC. Now with the first point, left click, and we're going to make this one 10 by 10. And there's our rectangle. Next we need to draw a polyline. We're just going to place this polyline below the rectangle. It doesn't have to be an exact location, just somewhere right about here where I have it. So this is going to be the bottom of the ghost. So that's it there. Now let's add a couple radius corners to this rectangle. Remember to type R before selecting any objects and enter the new radius amount. And this amount is going to be 5. So enter that and hit enter, and now select the objects. Now we need to make the face and draw a jagged polyline for the actual bottom. So next is the circle command. We're going to type C and enter. Now select the starting point of the circle and move your cursor. In the command line, if you type D, it'll change the amount you enter to be the diameter of the circle instead of the radius. We're going to leave it as radius for now, so type in 1 and make this 1 inch. Okay, so now let's go ahead and offset the circle and create the eyeball. So we'll need to change this amount since it still remembers the one that we previously had in there. The new offset amount is going to be 0.5, and then enter. Now select the object, and now move inside of the first circle, and that creates the smaller one for us. Now we got to use the move command to make him look like he's waiting to get out. Okay, now rather than making another one from the beginning, we can copy and move it over. Good. Okay, so let's trim this part of its body. So I'm pretty sure we've used trim enough here that we know the next step. And now for the sides, we need to extend those down to this polyline. So select the first one, you can see that's going to extend, and now select the other one, and hit enter to finish. Looking good, all right. Now time for a new polyline. So this new polyline is going to be the jagged polyline, and we're going to start it at this endpoint here. So this one isn't going to be straight, so we need to go into our status bar and turn off ortho. And we're going to make like 3 little triangles here. Selecting the first point, left click again, and back to a snap point on that straight polyline. And then just do that 2 more times. Now that's looking like a ghost. But before we can add any more details to this thing, we have to join these 2 polylines together to make one. Now this command I plan on going over in a little more detail as we get further into training. So for now, we're going to keep it real simple. Just type in J in the command line, enter. Now select the objects you want to join together, enter again, and there you go. And notice in the command line how it just said it converted those objects to one polyline. And we did this, so the next command we use will work the right way. And for that next command, this is a new one. This one is called hatch. Hatch lets you fill in areas with a pattern or just a solid color. We're going to type H, enter, and now select the objects that you want to fill. Right now we're going to do the eyes only. Left click on both of those eyes and hit enter. And so now we're going to repeat that. Spacebar to repeat the last command. Now this time don't select anything. We need to change it from picking the object to pick an internal point. You can see in the command line you have the option to type K or select it with your mouse. That works too. But since the K is highlighted, it's letting you know that that's a letter that you need to type in to change it. So after we type K, hit enter. Now we can select inside of the ghost. And notice how that was different? See how it's recognizing the boundaries of those eyes. If you were just to select the object itself, you'd actually cover up those eyes. And if you want, pause the video, delete the hatch, and repeat the step, but this time don't type K, just select the object, and you can see what I mean. Or not, that's okay too. We can also just keep going. Next are the properties of this object. So you can see the properties and change them if you want by selecting an object, right-clicking, and going to Properties. Now from here, we're going to change the properties of this ghost. And we're going to go to the pattern name and change it to solid. Then up to the top, we need to change the color. Now we got to do the same thing to the body. So select the hatch, show properties, and make the changes. And now for the color. Of course, pink or red, right? That's easy, but no. We're making this the orange one. I mean, the dude's name is Clyde. Did you know that? I knew about Pinky and like Blinky or something, but Clyde? Come on, that's just too good. Oh, and you can see if that selection won't clear, you can just go ahead and hit escape. All right, there we go. We got Clyde the ghost. Okay, so who's Clyde going to be chasing around here? We gotta get Pac-Man drawn. So Pac-Man's real simple. He's just a circle and a polyline. First with the circle, type C, hit enter, make the radius 6, and enter again to finish. Now the polyline. The starting point, we're going to place it at the center of the circle, left click to start. Ortho is still off, so that's good. And somewhere right around there. That looks good. Okay. Left click to end that and enter. Next up is the mirror command. We're going to make a mirror image of this polyline to make Pac-Man's mouth. Type in MI, then enter. Then select the object that you want to mirror. Hit enter again. Now check out at the command line, it's saying pick the first point of this mirror line. So, okay, pick the end point, and now move the cursor in the direction that you want this mirror line. Let's turn ortho back on to make this easy. Then left click to select the next point. Okay, so now the next step is, do you want to erase your source object? And nope, I want to keep it. So type N and hit enter. And there it is. So if that works for you, we should see that line being mirrored and representing Pac-Man's mouth. Now TR for trim, to trim off the ends and make the opening for his mouth. Now the join command again to make Pac-Man one single object. Okay, next is using the hatch command again to fill his body and to give him some color. So H, enter. Before selecting something, we need to change back the hatch setting to select objects. So type S, hit enter, And now our pick box is available and we can pick our object. So we could go back into the properties again and make the changes that we need to for Pac-Man. But a quicker way would be to steal the properties of Clyde over here and just match them to Pac-Man. If you type MA, this will start the command for match properties. You can take the properties from one object and apply them to as many other objects as you want inside of your drawing. Left click on the object you want the properties from, the source, then select the object you want them to be applied to, the destination object. Okay, so that worked, but the color's not right. But that's an easy one, especially since we still have the properties window open. Just select on Pac-Man, the properties change, and now you can go to the color and change that to yellow. And there we go. We got ourselves a drawing of Pac-Man. So I know this obviously isn't something they're going to need to know how to draw, but everything that we just did can be applied to working on projects in Toolbox. I mean, if you were to zoom out a little bit, this maze kind of looks like walls, right? And if this was a room layout, we could just add some rectangles to represent some cabinets and countertops. Now, of course, Toolbox is the way that you'll be drawing all your walls and cabinets, but this kind of goes along with the whole drafting and engineering process. Now, the last thing that I want to do in this exercise, which is something you will need to do in your drawings, whether you're using the tools in Toolbox or not, and this is dimensioning and adding annotations, like text or callouts. So let's go around this drawing and add some dimensions. You can type in D in the command line, and for some reason that shortcut isn't working for you, dimlin will work. But that one's not great. For me, if it's more than 3 letters, I'm probably finding another way to use that command. So another way is in the AutoCAD ribbon under the Annotate tab. So you can type in the shortcut or select it from the ribbon, and now pick 2 points to dimension. Left click on the first point, then again on the second point. Move your cursor up, and left click one last time to pick that landing spot. Okay, so let's keep dimensioning this thing out. Spacebar to repeat the command, and keep going. All right, that's good. Now repeat that command again, but this time instead of selecting the first point, hit that spacebar again. And now you can select the object. But because we had those radius corners, it's only giving the dimension of the straight part of the polyline. So this may take a little bit more time for you to get just right, but it's a great way to pull that quick dimension. And another cool way to speed up the process is by using the dim continue command. So this lets you keep pulling dimensions without having to pick that first point again. The new command would be dim continue, and it recognizes the last dimension that you set, and it starts pulling from there. And you can keep continuing until you hit enter and finish that command. Okay, so yeah, that's nice, but RJ, what about those corners? How do I know the size of the radius? Well, to get the radius dimension, you can go back to the Annotate tab, and under the dimension options, select dim radius. And now you can select that geometry and get your dimension. So you can see there, once we've selected that radius corner, it's giving us that 2-inch radius dimension. And now the final thing to complete this drawing is to add some description. So first we'll add a multi-leader with text, then just regular text with no leader. And if you're asking what's a leader, it's basically just pointing out to the object that you're describing. Let's go up to the ribbon and under the Annotate tab, and then the Leaders button. Left click on that little arrow that you see next to Leaders, and this opens the Multi-Leader Style Manager. From here, you can make edits to the properties of the multi-leaders, but for now, just make sure that Annotative one is selected and set that to current. Okay, now back to the ribbon, choose Multi-Leader, and follow along with the steps in the command line. Pick the start of the leader, then move the cursor in the direction you want that leader to go, and pick the next point. Start typing away and select OK in that text formatting bar. If that formatting bar doesn't show up, then you can also just left click outside and model space, and that'll finish it off. Now you'll notice that text came in as the same color as the dimensions, right? So this has to do with the different layers in AutoCAD. And we're going to learn more about layers throughout training, but they're basically just ways to assign different properties to objects. So before adding the next leader, I want to change the layer. So now we got to go back up to the ribbon under the Home tab. Now select Layers and scroll down to find 2D Text. Click that one, and now that's the current layer. So now the next thing that we add to this drawing, which is going to be a new leader and text, will be under this layer. And okay, same as before. Pick the points, move the cursor, and start entering some text. And now because the first leader and text had that dimension layer, let's go ahead and use that match properties command again and update that. So we'll pull the properties from that new leader and text that we just added. Let's go ahead and assign those properties to this one here. Okay, and now just for some regular text. So T is the keyboard shortcut, or you can also go back up to the ribbon, the same place that we had the multi-leaders, this time under the text button. Now select multi-line text. Left click in model space to start that text box. That looks pretty good to me. Left click again, and now you're ready to type. And just like the multi-leader text, once you're done, hit that OK in the text formatting bar or left click outside in model space to finish that up. All right, so that concludes this video on drafting with some of the basic tools of AutoCAD. Now, I know there was a lot to take in with this one, so it might be a good idea to go back through and focus on maybe just some of the specific parts of the video that you can do again and make sure that you're really picking everything up. So keep up the good work, keep practicing, and in our next videos, we're going to continue to build on what you've learned with AutoCAD and how all that can be applied to some of the things that you're going to be doing in Toolbox. Well, that's it for now, so until next time, I'm out, and I'll catch you in our next video.